There's a man listening to this right now who already knows. He knows something is wrong. He can't name it, can't locate it, can't point to the moment it started. But somewhere in his chest, there's a hollow space where fire used to live. He wakes up tired, not physically. Something deeper goes through the motions, does his job, comes home, scrolls, sleeps, repeats, and every now and then, usually late at night, usually when the house is quiet and there's nowhere left to hide, a thought surfaces. Is this it? Is this all I'm going to be? And he pushes it down, rolls over, tells himself tomorrow will be different, but tomorrow comes, and it's not. If that's you, stay here. Because what I'm about to tell you might be the most important thing you hear this year. Not because I'm special, not because I have something others don't, because what's killing you isn't loud enough for you to notice. And by the time most men notice, it's too late. There is an enemy in your life. He's been there for years, maybe decades. He doesn't look like an enemy, doesn't sound like one, doesn't feel like one. In fact, he feels like a friend. He's the voice that says, you've earned this rest. He's the feeling that says, you've done enough. He's the logic that says, tomorrow is soon enough. He's the comfort that wraps around you like a warm blanket and suffocates you so slowly you mistake dying for living. His name is comfort. And I need you to understand something. Comfort is not rest. Comfort is not peace. Comfort is not reward. Comfort, the way most men experience it, is the slowest form of death. You think I'm being dramatic. I'm not. By the end of this, you'll see it. You'll see it in your own life. You'll recognize the places it already has you, and you'll understand why everything in you has felt off, muted, like you're watching your own life through foggy glass. That fog has a source, and today we burn it off. Let me tell you about two men. They were born the same year, same city, similar families, similar opportunities. At 18, they were nearly identical. Same potential, same fire, same dreams about what their lives could become. One of them is listening to this right now. The other one, I spoke at his funeral 3 years ago. He didn't die of disease, didn't die of accident, didn't die of anything the world would call tragedy. He died of comfort. 47 years old, heart gave out, but his heart had given out long before his body caught up. I watched it happen in slow motion over 20 years. The small choices, the tiny surrenders, the job he stayed in because leaving was scary, the body he stopped training because training was hard, the marriage he stopped fighting for because fighting was exhausting, the dreams he stopped chasing because chasing required risk. One by one, he traded every hard thing for an easy thing, and one by one, the fire went out, until there was nothing left but a man going through the motions, a ghost wearing skin. And then, not even that. Here's what haunts me. At his funeral, people said nice things. He was comfortable. He had a good life. He was at peace. And I stood there thinking, no, he was asleep. He was numb. He was dying for 20 years, and none of us said anything because we were dying the same way. That's when I realized comfort doesn't just kill individuals. It kills everyone who watches and says nothing. It becomes normal, expected, the air we breathe, until an entire generation of men suffocates together, smiling, scrolling, sedated, never knowing they were made for fire. Let me show you how it works. Because comfort isn't a single choice. It's 1,000 choices that feel like nothing. It starts with the alarm. The alarm goes off. Early, the time you said you'd wake up. And there's a negotiation. 5 more minutes. Just 5. What's 5 minutes? So you hit snooze. And in that moment, something happens. Something imperceptible. You teach yourself that your word means nothing. You said you'd wake up at 6. But when 6 came, you abandoned your word because the bed was warm and discipline was cold. And your subconscious takes notes. It remembers. He doesn't do what he says. His commitments are negotiable. When it's hard, he folds. That's day 1. Now multiply it by 1,000 days. 10,000. Every time you said you'd work out, but didn't. Every time you said you'd read, but scrolled. Every time you said you'd have the hard conversation but stayed silent. Every time you said tomorrow, your soul heard it, and it stopped believing you. This is how men lose themselves. Not in one dramatic moment, in a million tiny surrenders, each one small enough to ignore, each one reasonable enough to justify, each one adding a single drop to the ocean of regret that drowns men at the end of their lives. And here's what makes it insidious. Comfort always has a reasonable voice. It doesn't say give up, it says rest. It doesn't say quit, it says you've earned a break. It doesn't say abandon your dreams, it says there's always tomorrow. The devil doesn't show up with horns, he shows up with a pillow. Think about your own life. Think about the last year. How many times did you know exactly what you should do and chose the comfortable thing instead, not the wrong thing, the easy thing, the version that required less of you, the path of least resistance? That path has a destination. It's not where you want to go. I want to talk about what comfort actually costs, because you're paying for it whether you realize it or not. Comfort costs you your body. This is simple physics. Your muscles grow through resistance. Your cardiovascular system strengthens through stress. Your physical capacity expands through challenge. Remove the challenge, and the body decays. The comfortable man stops training because it's hard, stops pushing because it hurts, stops building because building requires effort. And slowly, pound by pound, year by year, his body becomes a prison instead of a vehicle. Too weak to carry the life he wants, too tired to pursue the mission he was made for, too broken to be useful when God finally calls. I've watched men cry at 50 because they can't play with their grandchildren, not because of disease, because they spent 30 years choosing comfort over discipline. And now the bill has come due. Comfort costs you your mind. Your brain is like a muscle. It sharpens through challenge. Give it difficult problems, and it grows. Give it nothing but entertainment, and it atrophies. The comfortable man stops reading because reading requires focus. Stops learning because learning requires effort. Stops thinking deeply because depth requires discomfort. He fills every empty moment with content. Scrolling, streaming, consuming, never creating, never struggling, never stretching. And his mind, the greatest tool he possesses, becomes dull, foggy, unable to focus when focus matters, unable to think when thinking is required, unable to strategize, to plan, to envision. I've met men who can't sit in silence for 5 minutes. Their minds won't allow it. They've trained themselves for constant stimulation, and now they're prisoners of their own distraction. Comfort costs you your spirit. This is the deepest loss. Your spirit was built for battle. It was designed to contend, to persevere, to overcome. Faith grows through trials. Character forms through testing. Spiritual strength is forged in the furnace of difficulty. But comfort smothers the spirit. The comfortable man stops praying with urgency because nothing feels urgent. Stops seeking God desperately because nothing feels desperate. Stops fighting spiritually because nothing seems worth fighting for. His connection to God grows distant. His sensitivity to the Spirit dulls. His passion for righteousness cools. He still goes to church, still says the right words, still checks the religious boxes, but the fire is gone. And in its place, a form of godliness without power. Body, mind, spirit. Comfort destroys them all. Not quickly, not obviously, slowly, invisibly, one comfortable choice at a time. Now I need to take you somewhere. Stay with me, because this is where it starts to turn. Open your Bible to any page. Find any man God used, I mean really used to shake nations, shift history, alter the trajectory of humanity. Find him. Now tell me, was he comfortable? Abraham, called to leave everything, family, home, security, everything familiar. Walk into the unknown with nothing but a promise from a God he just met. Live in tents while others lived in cities. Wait decades for the son who would carry the covenant. Was Abraham comfortable? Moses, Prince of Egypt turned fugitive. 40 years in the desert. not preparing for ministry, herding sheep, 40 years of obscurity that looked like failure. Then another 40 years leading a rebellious people through wilderness, complained against, questioned, doubted, alone at the top. Was Moses comfortable? Joseph, sold by his own brothers into slavery, falsely accused by his employer's wife, thrown into prison, forgotten by those he helped. Years of injustice, of waiting, of trusting God in the dark. Was Joseph comfortable? David, anointed king as a boy, then spent years running for his life, hiding in caves, eating scraps, leading outlaws, betrayed by friends, hunted by the king he'd served faithfully. Was David comfortable? Do you see it? Every single man God raised up was forged in difficulty. Every single man God trusted with authority was first tested by adversity. Every single man whose name echoes through eternity was shaped by the very discomfort you spend your life avoiding. There's a pattern here, and it's not subtle. God does not use comfortable men, not because he's cruel, because comfort cannot produce what he requires. You cannot develop the strength to carry a kingdom if you've never carried weight. You cannot develop the faith to move mountains if you've never faced impossible odds. You cannot become the man God needs you to be in the temperature of comfort. You become him in the fire. Let me say it differently. The very thing you're running from, the difficulty, the challenge, the discomfort, that's not the obstacle to your destiny. That's the path. You want the throne without the cave, the promise without the waiting, the anointing without the wilderness, the resurrection without the cross. But God doesn't work that way. He never has. He never will. The men he uses are the men he forges, and forging requires heat, pressure. The hammer striking again and again until everything weak is beaten out and only strength remains. There's a reason every ancient tradition, every warrior culture, every monastic order, every path that produced mighty men included intentional discomfort, fasting, training, silence, solitude, discipline, cold, hunger, pain. They understood something we've forgotten. Ease is not the reward for a life well lived. Ease is the poison that prevents a life from being lived at all. The Spartans understood this. They built the most formidable warriors the ancient world had ever seen. Not through luxury, through hardship so intense it would break modern men before breakfast. And those who survived, unbreakable. The Desert Fathers understood this. They fled comfortable cities for harsh wilderness, not because they hated life, because they wanted to truly live. They knew comfort would numb them to God. Only in the desert could they hear his voice. The prophets understood this. Elijah in the wilderness, John the Baptist eating locusts and wearing camel hair. They chose discomfort because they knew comfort would dull the edge God needed sharp. And Jesus, the Son of God himself, no place to lay his head. 40 days of fasting, dusty roads and hostile crowds, betrayal and abandonment, torture and death. If the Son of God didn't pursue comfort, why do you think you should? I can feel what some of you are thinking. Okay, I get it. Comfort is dangerous. But what do I do? Fair. Let's get practical. Because awareness without action is just entertainment, and we're not here to be entertained. First, you need to audit your life, honestly, ruthlessly. Get a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write what I say I want. On the right side, write what my daily choices prove I want. Be honest. If you say you want a strong body, but your daily choices prove you want comfort more, write it down. If you say you want financial freedom, but your daily choices prove you want ease more, write it down. If you say you want a deep walk with God, but your daily choices prove you want entertainment more, write it down. The gap between those two columns is the space where your life is leaking. That's where comfort is winning. That's where you're dying. Second, you need to declare war, not on yourself, on your comfort. This is not about self-hatred. This is about self-rescue. You are not the enemy. Your addiction to ease is, and you fight it the way you fight any enemy, strategically, relentlessly, without negotiation. Here's how. Pick one area. Just one. The one that matters most. Maybe it's your mornings, maybe it's your body, maybe it's your prayer life. Maybe it's that conversation you've been avoiding for months. Just one. And make a vow, not a goal, not an intention, a vow. For the next 30 days, I will do this thing regardless of how I feel, regardless of how you feel. That's the key. Comfort wins when you let feelings drive decisions. Discipline wins when the decision is made once and feelings become irrelevant. You don't wait until you feel like getting up early. You get up early because you said you would. You don't wait until you feel like training. You train because you made a vow. You don't wait until you feel like praying. You pray because your soul depends on it, whether you feel anything or not. Feelings follow action. They do not lead it. The man who waits to feel motivated will wait forever. The man who acts despite feeling nothing will eventually feel everything. Third, and this is crucial, you need to change your environment. You are not strong enough to beat comfort alone. Neither am I. Neither is anyone. That's why environment matters. You become like the people you spend time with. You absorb the standards of the rooms you occupy. You rise or fall to the level of expectation around you. If everyone around you is comfortable, you will become comfortable. If everyone around you is complacent, you will become complacent. If everyone around you has surrendered to ease, you will surrender to ease. You need to find men who are at war with their own comfort, men who rise early, men who train hard, men who pray with fire, men who refuse to settle, men who will look you in the eye and ask hard questions. Find them. If they don't exist in your city, find them online. If they don't exist online, become one, and others will find you. But do not try to fight this battle in isolation. Comfort wins when you're alone. Community creates accountability, and accountability is the structure that holds discipline in place when willpower fails. Fourth, reframe the discomfort. This is psychological warfare. Right now, your brain interprets discomfort as threat. Pain means something is wrong. Struggle means you should stop. Difficulty means you're on the wrong path. You need to reprogram that. Discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the tool. Every time you feel the pull toward ease and choose the hard thing instead, you're not just completing a task. You're rewiring your brain. You're strengthening neural pathways of discipline. You're teaching yourself that you can be trusted. You're building the identity of a man who does what he says. Start to see discomfort as evidence that you're growing. That burn in your muscles? Evidence. That resistance when you wake up early? Evidence. That tension when you have the hard conversation? Evidence. The presence of discomfort means you're leaving the comfort zone, and nothing grows in the comfort zone. Fifth, remember the cost of comfort. When the temptation comes, and it will come every single day, remember what you're actually choosing between. You're not choosing between hard and easy. You're choosing between who you could become and who you'll be if you stop. Every comfortable choice has a price. The price is the man you won't become, the strength you won't build, the legacy you won't leave, the impact you won't have. When you reach for the easy thing, picture the man you'll be in 10 years if you keep making that choice. Weaker, softer, emptier, full of regret. Then picture the man you'll be in 10 years if you choose the hard thing, stronger, sharper, forged, full of purpose. Let that vision pull you forward when willpower isn't enough. I want to speak directly to a man who's listening. You've been asleep for a long time, years maybe. You've felt the emptiness, you've sensed the decay. You've known, somewhere beneath the numbness, that you're not living the life you were made to live. And maybe you've tried before, started things, made promises, launched into discipline with intensity, only to fade, only to slide back into the same patterns, only to end up right back where you started with another layer of shame added to the pile. Listen to me. That's over. Not because I said so, because you're going to say so. Today, you're going to make a decision. Not an emotion, not a motivation, a decision. The decision is this: I will no longer let comfort dictate the terms of my life. Say it out loud, right now. I will no longer let comfort dictate the terms of my life. That sentence, if you mean it, changes everything. It draws a line before and after the man who drifted and the man who decided. And here's what you need to understand. The decision doesn't just get made once, it gets made every single day. Every morning when the alarm goes off, every moment when ease tempts you, every hour when you have to choose between what you want and what you need. The decision is not a moment. It's a lifestyle, a posture, a daily war that you sign up for again and again and again. And some days you'll win, and some days you'll lose. And on the days you lose, you don't quit. You don't spiral. You don't let one defeat become a surrender. You get back up, make the decision again, and keep going. I need you to understand what's at stake. This isn't about being more productive. It isn't about optimizing your routine. It isn't about some self-improvement project. This is about your soul. Comfort isn't just making you soft. It's separating you from God. It's numbing you to the Spirit. It's muting the voice that's trying to call you higher. Every time you choose ease over obedience, you build a wall, brick by brick, until the voice of God becomes faint, until conviction feels foreign, until you can sin without flinching, until you can drift without noticing. Comfort is a spiritual issue. It's not about discipline for discipline's sake. It's about staying awake enough to hear God, staying sharp enough to respond, staying alive enough to be used. The comfortable man is useless to the kingdom. Not because God is cruel, because the comfortable man can't hear the call. He's too numb, too sedated, too asleep. God is looking for men who are awake, men who feel the urgency, men who are willing to be uncomfortable for the sake of the mission. Are you one of them? Here's what I know. If you're still listening, there's a reason. Something in you resonates with this. Something in you knows it's true. Something in you is ready, maybe for the first time in years, to fight. Don't waste this moment. The enemy of your soul wants you to feel inspired for 30 minutes and then do nothing. He wants this to be entertainment, consumption, another video that makes you feel something without requiring you to become something. Don't give him that victory. Before this ends, make a commitment. Pick one thing, one discipline you're going to implement, one comfort you're going to kill, one hard thing you've been avoiding that you're going to do. Write it down. Tell someone. Put a date on it. Make it real. Because clarity without action is just intellectual entertainment. And you weren't made for entertainment. You were made for war. Let me tell you how this ends. Not this video. Your story. You have two options. Option 1. You let comfort win. You stay in the drift. You keep hitting snooze not just on your alarm, but on your life. You arrive at the end of your days old, weak, full of regret, wondering what could have been. Your children inherit your softness. Your legacy is silence. And the man you could have become dies with you, never having lived. Option 2. You wake up. You decide that comfort is no longer your master. You embrace the difficulty. You step into the fire. You let God forge you into something dangerous. Dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to ease, dangerous to everything that tries to keep men small. You become the man God designed you to be. Your children inherit your strength. Your legacy is impact. And when you stand before God at the end, you hear the only words that matter. Well done. Two options, one life. Choose. Comfort is the slowest form of death. But you don't have to die that death. Not anymore. Not if you decide. Right now, this moment, everything changes if you let it. So stand up, shake off the sleep. Let the fire come back to your eyes. Let the purpose come back to your step. Let the man you were made to be finally breathe. The alarm is going off. Not tomorrow morning, right now. In your soul, you can hit snooze. You've done it 1,000 times. Or you can rise. Rise. Rise against every voice that says you've done enough. Rise against every temptation that says tomorrow is soon enough. Rise against every comfortable lie that's been killing you slowly. Rise and become the man who cannot be stopped, the man who cannot be seduced by ease, the man who cannot be tamed by pleasure, the man who walks with God because he's awake enough to hear him. That man is in you. He's been waiting. buried under years of comfort, suffocated under 1,000 small surrenders. But he's not dead. Call him out, give him air, let him live, and watch everything change. Stay awake. The world wants you asleep, numb, drifting, unaware. Stay awake, stay disciplined. When no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one cares, stay disciplined, stay rooted, in purpose deeper than comfort, in mission stronger than ease, in God more than anything this world can offer. Stay rooted. Comfort is the slowest form of death. But you don't die today. Today you live. Now go. And don't stop until you become the man God designed you to be.